Tomahawks in Trump's mind were always leveraged to try to get this meeting. I think when we look back in retrospect, his desire was to get Putin to the negotiating table, and he thought the best possible means of that was threatening to give Ukraine Tomahawks. Now, obviously, Zelensky was on the same page, but saw the use of those Tomahawks differently. He wanted to actually get them, threaten to use them, if not use them in a demonstration of force to get Putin to a meaningful negotiation process. So I think that explains it. But I think we're beyond this, Sofia. I think really when we step back and we look at this, Europe is on the edge of World War III now, and we can't just keep reacting in terms of what Trump is doing. But this really now becomes a discussion, an urgent discussion of what Europe needs to be doing to stop this World War III that is on its borders, because the ground zero of it is in Ukraine right now. And at this point, at least from a negotiating standpoint, Putin has that advantage, and the West needs to take that away.
Putin's phone call coming just a day before Zelensky's meeting with Trump, and now it looks like the Russian dictator was genuinely alarmed by the prospects of Tomahawks in Ukrainian hands. Yet many analysts argued that those missiles would not change the course of the war. John, from a military standpoint, does Russia really fear these weapons, and what would their use mean on the battlefield in practical terms?
Well, yeah, of course they fear that weapon. Look, the Russian military has been ineffective in downing Ukrainian drones and Ukrainian missiles. The Tomahawk missile system itself is superior to those systems, and the Russian air defense system simply could not and would not be able to defeat the Tomahawk. Look, Ukraine doesn't need 200 Tomahawks. Ukraine could use 20 to 30 Tomahawks to make a difference. And when I say make a difference, I mean go after those weapon systems that are currently inflicting the greatest number of casualties on the battlefield, and that is the ballistic missiles and also the drones that are being fired upon them. 4 targets, and we mentioned this in an article on Substack. The 4 targets that they should be considering, and I'm sure they would if they had the missiles: Ingalls Air Base, which is the home of the Tu-95s that deliver ballistic missiles, but also the Shahed drone factories that are present in Russia. You take those 2 out, and then from a strategic perspective, as a closer, as isolation of Crimea, to knock out the Kerch Street Bridge. So no, they don't need 200 to 300. They need the right number. In addition to other weapon systems. Okay, the Tomahawk is not the silver bullet, but the Tomahawk is one of many weapon systems that are available. So yes, Putin was concerned enough to pick up the phone, as Mark said, to call Trump to schedule another meeting, in a sense, to buy additional time to prevent those particular weapon systems to be given to Ukraine.
While the U.S. hesitates, another crucial missile system Ukraine could receive is the German-made Taurus. John, could such system realistically substitute for the Tomahawks?
Again, I wouldn't say substitute. I would say complement. Okay, it has an explosive warhead that's of equal magnitude to the Tomahawk. I'm not sure about the range. The range of the Tomahawk can range anywhere between 1,500 miles outwards to 2,500 miles. So I don't think it gives them the same distance, but it gives them a similar capability as far as reaching certain targets that are affecting them. But again, as Mark reiterated, NATO and the European Union need to do more now. Okay, I know the European Union delegation recently met in Brussels to discuss their Readiness 2030 proposal, which is noble and which is something they need to do. But 2030 is going to be 5 years too late. So we've been talking about the Taurus missile system now for what? 12 months, at least 18 months when Merz is running for president, and now that he is, in a sense, the chancellor of Germany, but we still haven't seen that particular system given up. Okay, and I understand they're holding their cards closer because Germany may need them later, but later is too late. They need to deal with the Russian threat today. If you remove the Russian threat today, a lot of other problems in the world will stop.
Mark, I would like to just understand what is the problem for Berlin, basically, to take this decision and deliver these long-range Taurus missiles for Kyiv?
Yeah, I think part of it is just a general mindset here. We keep talking about what Ukraine needs, and that's fine, right? We can debate things like the Tomahawk, which gives you a deeper strike capability than the Taurus does. The Taurus is maybe a third of that kind of distance, although the Taurus has certain advantages in terms of its double strike capability, so it can do bunker busting type operations. That's all good. We can talk systems, but in reality, what we need to be talking about is Europe needs to find its spine. At this point, whether it's been Emmanuel Macron in France, whether it's been Keir Starmer in the UK, and now even disappointingly Friedrich Merz in Germany, they keep looking to Trump to basically say, hey, this is the tune we're going to march to. Europe has got to understand this is not 2025 anymore. We are, in effect, back in 1938. The threat is real. Hitler is again trying to talk to the current modern day chamberlains of Europe and say, hey, we can have peace in our time. But that's not going to happen. And so from the standpoint of getting the Taurus missile released and stuff, it just needs to be done. There have been 31 contact meetings so far. They're in the Ramstein format since this war began. There have been countless meetings where European leaders go and meet and talk about what they need to be doing to counter Russia. But none of it recognizes the deep and immediate threat beyond simple words. Their actions aren't there. That Russia is posing right now. So when I say it's 1938, I mean it. Now is the critical time. There's a crossroad here. Europe is either going to understand that World War III is on its doorsteps, and it's going to react to stop it in its tracks by giving everything immediately that Ukraine needs and more, or we're going to go down the 1938 path where Europe's security gets a lot worse, and things like the Suwalki Gap will come into play down the road. And as John said, look, if they're waiting to defend themselves until 2030, it's too late, because the fight right now is on the Ukraine front lines in the Donbass and then in the south toward Crimea. That's just my opinion. So it's time to stop talking about this. It's time for Europe to start doing it. And Trump's not yet going to do it, so stop looking to him. Europe needs to look to itself.